Today we are joined by Ms. Edla Kaumbi, Executive Director at the Namibia Institute of Corporate Governance, the NICG, in partnership with the Ministry of Finance, with support from the European Union, has just launched a national governance ranking study. This initiative is a significant step towards setting new benchmarks for transparency, ethical leadership, and institutional excellence across Namibia's public and private sectors, with over 50 organizations under assessment. The final ranking are expected this September. Ms. Kaumbi joins us now to unpack what this all means for Namibia's governance future. Ms. Kaumbi, welcome to Daily Roundup.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Just to start off, perhaps you can just let's start with the big picture of what inspired the launch of the governance ranking study and why now.
Well, we as the Namibia Institute of Corporate Governance exist to improve the governance landscape across the country, across all sectors. And so we've been advocating for good governance. And so right now it's to make that more of a practical exercise, to make it more tangible and more structured, to move from advocacy to action and getting more, say, empirical data and so on with regards to what the governance landscape looks like.
Mm-hmm. Now, we know that over 50 organizations are participating in the study. Can you share how these were selected and what criteria are being used for assessment?
Yes. So the institutions that are taking part in the study, or that we want to take part in the study, with regards to the public sector, you would see that we have all the 20 commercial enterprises, so all of those that are classified as commercial, and then we had then a mixed bag of the extra budgetary and the non-commercial enterprises, and then the private sector that are members of the Namibia Institute of Corporate Governance. So the main criteria was we wanted the commercial enterprises, and then we wanted to have a mix of the other ones that are non-commercial or extra budgetary.
This initiative is backed by the European Union. What kind of support or collaboration is involved in this partnership?
So the EU and the Republic of Namibia have a bilateral agreement to support, service excellence and transparency and accountability. So that is part of that agreement, and it is a service contract. It's not a grant. It's not a sponsorship. It's so the Ministry of Finance, because the Ministry of Finance and the NICG have been in talks with regards to how we can improve governance in the public sector. We thought to have this project together, and then because of the bilateral agreement that the EU has with Namibia, we approached them to support us. Because the study had been done before, but it was more of a desktop study. It was done by the IPPR, and so we thought to do it again, but to make it a bit more of an empirical study instead of just desktop-based.
Now, transparent leadership and institutional strengthening are key in governance. How do you see this study influencing real change within the organizations?
Sorry, say that again, please. I was struggling to hear you.
I was just asking, transparent leadership and institutional, in strengthening are key in governance. How do you see this study influencing real change within these organizations?
Okay, so there's power in visibility. Okay, we're hoping that this comparison, or how people can benchmark themselves, will sort of shift the conversations from compliance to excellence. We want people to see themselves. So we're hoping that this acts as a mirror for people to see where they are, but then also as a catalyst to see how we can move from where we are to where we can be, so that people can improve and that we can also have data. Because currently, we just have newspaper headlines and so on, but hopefully we can have more empirical data that we can work with.
Ms. Kaumbi, once the rankings are released in September, what comes next? Will there be public access, follow-ups, or incentives for improvement?
Yeah, So definitely the results will be publicly released, and I mean, as I know, especially for the public sector, Louise and her team, they've also always had these competitions, or rather a ranking system, and so we're hoping to combine that with this, and we were hoping that if the study is done on time, that we can also announce it at the governance conference that we're hoping to have. But to answer your question shortly, yes, there will be public access, there will be follow-up, and hopefully.
For ordinary Namibians watching this at home, how does improved governance actually benefit the mere women or men on the street?
Governance has to do with ethical and effective leadership. When we talk ethical leadership, we're talking about public trust, and we're talking about confidence, and talking about transparency and accountability. If we have that, the public can trust that organizations will do what they say they will do, and they are who they say they are. And when you're thinking effective leadership, it's talking about good performance. It's talking about good internal control. That means we can have better service delivery, that we can have the water, we can have the power, like electricity and things like that. So governance is good not just for corporates, but for every entity. I mean, even families. It's about leading ethically and effectively.
Lastly, as someone at the helm of NICG, what is your broader vision for governance culture in Namibia over the next 5 years?
We really, honestly, at the heart of governance is purpose. When you look at the ISO 37000, it talks about purpose. So, and even when we spoke about it, the last 5 place conversations, is that if organizations just get back to the basics, if they can understand what good governance looks like I said, in terms of ethical and effective leadership, to have ethical conduct and ethical culture in the organization, to really deliver the service for which they were instituted, you know what I mean? And then for them to have the proper controls, that there's no corruption, and that we have good institutions, strong institutions, and that would make me happy. That would make us happy. Because then we have sustainable organizations and effective organizations.
Any last words before we let you go?
We really hope that the institutions that we can be proud of, and something that will make organizations want to excel and improve continuously. So we hope, watch the space basically.
Of course. Thank you so much for being on Daily Roundup this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Because that was Ms. Edla Kaumbi, Executive Director at the Namibia Institute of Corporate Governance. She was just giving us a brief on the launched National Governance Ranking Study